What are the chances the Panthers regret this?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Molly. People forget that, and Stephen A. pointed out that I always said North Turner, right, at the time, and fine, that's true. But the fact remains, this guy became the MVP of the league. This guy was voted by his peers the #1 player in football. Brady was still getting it done. Aaron Rodgers was in his prime. Everyone, they said, his peers said, nope, Cam is better than all of them, won the MVP. And in that same season, took his team to the Super Bowl. Like, everyone's amazed by what Lamar Jackson did last year, right? But now he has to get over the playoff hump. Imagine Lamar Jackson's season this year, and he takes his team to the Super Bowl and is in the game, is competitive with a chance to win. That was Cam Newton. He was like, there aren't that many athletes that achieved the height he did. He looked like Mickey Mantle when he suddenly hit 50-something home runs in his mid-20s, and oh my God, he's like an American icon. That's what Cam Newton was, and how fast we forget because he didn't win that Super Bowl and because he was a different kind of player. But then, as Molly, you said, before he got hurt, he was ascending. He had better passing numbers than ever in his. So the question is, can he be that player again? I think yes, coming off a catastrophic injury, if he can get back to just what he was before this last injury, or most of it, there's a very good chance that Carolina regrets letting him go. There are plenty of landing spots for him, but even a place like Washington or the Chargers or some place like that, if Cam Newton goes on to win double-digit wins, forget the passer rating and stuff like that. He's a different kind of player. You can't measure him just by normal stats, but you can look at the wins and losses of his team because he's been a one-man band for a lot of his career. I think there's a solid chance they regret this.
Stephen A? Greeny.
Oh. Stephen A. has...
Greeny, let's get you in here.
Well,
Stephen A's having some technical difficulties. We'll get him right back.
Yeah, we lost Steve's audio there, and bear with us, everybody. Obviously, we're working under unusual circumstances. I will say this. I don't understand what Carolina is doing at all. So when they hire a new coach in Matt Rule and they give him all of this long contract and all of this time to build something, I assumed that if they were going to move on from Cam Newton, it would be because they were going to find a way to move up in the draft one of the big quarterbacks that are in this year's draft, maybe Tua Tagovailoa, and start building around that. To move on from Cam Newton to go to Teddy Bridgewater struck me as a very curious move. And the only explanation for it that makes sense is that they know better than anyone else, because they've had him there, that Cam Newton is not going to go back to what he was a year and a half ago. Because if he does, then Max is obviously right. If he does, then Cam Newton was clearly the second most attractive quarterback that might have been available during this offseason behind Tom Brady, and considering his age, maybe even ahead of him. But Cam Newton a year and a half ago was way better than Ryan Tannehill, Teddy Bridgewater, Jameis Winston, Phillip Rivers, or anybody else who might have become available. So Carolina must know, or you would assume knows, something the rest of us don't, or why would they have made this decision in the first place? Signing Teddy Bridgewater is kind of doing a little bit of both, and thus none of either. They're not really starting over again. They're making a lateral move at best, and if Cam is healthy, he's better than Bridgewater. So I don't understand what Carolina is doing at all, and if Cam is healthy, I think he has a chance to be a great quarterback again, because he always has been.
Well, first order of business, let me apologize to the audience. I couldn't hear anything. My sound and everything went out, so that's what I was telling everybody. I couldn't hear, couldn't see anything. Now I'm back to tell both of y'all are wrong, and here is why. Because y'all keep forgetting. First of all, excuse me, things are parallel or lateral moves when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. Greeny, with all due respect, that's patently false. The fact of the matter is Devin Funchess is now in Green Bay. Greg Olsen is in Seattle. You know, when you look at the Carolina Panthers, clearly they're moving in a different direction. They still have Christian McCaffrey, but the bottom line is it's not the same team. Even Kyle Allen is with the Redskins now, your backup that became a starter once Cam Newton went down. Look at what you have. It's not the same team. Things have changed drastically for the Carolina Panthers. So when I look at it from that perspective, and you combine it with the fact that you got an owner in place that's really put his foot to the pedal, you got a new coach in place now that Rule is there, you got a new quarterback, you got a new tight end, all right, you got a new wide receiver. I'm sorry, that's not the same situation. And if that's not the same situation, I think if you're the Carolina Panthers, you can make the legitimate argument that indeed there are no regrets, because we're relatively playing with house money. Cam Newton's presence there all right, came with expectations. Without him there, you're hopeful for Teddy Bridgewater, but he's young enough where you can look towards the future in terms of immediate success. Christian McCaffrey is a stud, no question about that, but everything else around him is suspect right now. You've got players, you know, that are like Kuechly is gone and Davis is gone, and I brought up Olsen and Funches already, and now Cam Newton. This is not the same team, so because of that, you're sitting back and you're saying, hey, excuse me, if we win a few games, so be it. If we don't, everybody understands we're moving in a different direction. The level of expectations isn't draped on our shoulders. And as a result, we can afford to go out there, modify things to some degree because it's going to be a bit different. This is not the same team from the owner to the coach on down. All of that stuff makes me say there are no regrets about Cam Newton here.
That's not yet. I think that you're right, Stephen A. Mike, to your point, like, what are they thinking other than maybe he's damaged goods? I think when Tepper bought the team, he thought, we keep getting to a certain place, we're good, but I want to try to be great. My hat's off to him. So he tore the whole thing down, got rid of a good coach, kind of remade the whole thing, and Bridgewater is a really good stopgap kind of quarterback. You can put him at the helm, he'll steady the ship, the culture will be good from the top down, from the quarterback position down, and either he'll get it done, or more likely, if he's not quite, get you over the hump Super Bowl quarterback, you'll have the right kind of thing in place that when you find that guy, you can slide him in. So the question with Cam in terms of their regret is, can he perform again at an exceptionally high level? I think he can, because right before this injury, as a slightly modified version of him, he wasn't, as physical as he was when he won the MVP. He was a better passer than he'd ever been. So even if he can split the difference between his MVP season's physicality and the passing under Norv Turner, that's a hell of a quarterback.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.